Palace, so the gate na opposite TV. TV3 no.
In fact,
blocks na dey go anu. Present blocks.
Na saying.
Na me see the bia when I me fa ba adwuma. Blocks. Any dey go gate anu.
Foreign affairs for no.
Foreign affairs for foreign affairs wing near different. The gate opposite TV3. Blocks na dey go. Blocks. Na no pay am go yi free officer. Dey bia me twa picture. Blocks. Presidential palace no. Blocks na dey go. That's how you run the presidency.
Yeah, to us now, you're moving on to Mauli School. And the Ghanaian Times in the Aba say students barred from using new dormitory until President commissions it. Now you call Volta region. Now you're regional director of education, Mr. Gabriel Pablanyi. I'm sure that's the name. You're regional director at the MAGS. Good morning to you, sir. Hello, Mr. Pablanyi. Right. Yebeko Volta region NTBR. Now story I want to say students bad. Okay, let's try once again. Yene Ura Gabriel Pamlanyi and Chinkomo, regional director at the Farmer GS. Mr. Pamlanyi, good morning to you, sir.
Morning, sir.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
Thank you very much. We are all doing well. We thank you very much. Merry Christmas to you and in advance.
Thank you.
I'm sure that this story has come to your attention as a regional director. The Mauli School dormitory, the new dormitory that has been built, yet to be commissioned, and yet your girls or students of Mauli School are still sleeping outside, even though the dormitory is completed. Why is that, sir?
Thank you very much. I like the way you presented it. But let me just ask a rhetorical question. You think that any headmaster wears his salt, who has his hair properly screwed on, will get his students to be sleeping outside on a veranda or whatever when he's supposed to administer a school? Is it possible that way? Could it be said under any consideration whatsoever that one would just say whatever reason may be to allow even girls not to sleep in a room and be sleeping outside without the head doing anything about it? I would only want to say briefly that the report cannot be true. It is never true. That's not it. Admittedly, the building was handed over about a month ago, but the students didn't start using it that early because after the contractor handed it over, and when we wanted the students to move in, the headmaster detected that the doors had warped, and so he called my attention. We went to take a look at it, and we realized that it had twisted, and it was not the way it was when it was handed over, or that when the building was handed over. We called the contractor's attention. He quickly came around and saw that the reason must be the fact that the wood that was used initially was not properly cured. And so that would have accounted for the change in the form of the doors. And we couldn't have allowed the girls to go in that state, especially as it was a new block. So the contractor promised rectifying the situation. This is what has delayed their going into the room. But when public outcry is going that way, we quickly put pressure on him, and he's been able to work on part of the block. So the girls, as I speak, the girls are in the block. The student girls are sleeping in the block.
How long has the girls been in the block?
Last week.
Last week?
Yes.
But the assistant headmaster, Mr. Hobson Ja, who spoke to the Times, and I'll create your indulgence to read this quotation for you. I'm quoting him.
Ahead. I even have the paper right in front of me.
Okay. Thank you very much. He says the newly built dormitory block cannot be used without the blessing of education authorities. It implies that until media started, raising the issue, you wouldn't have allowed the girls to go into the dormitory.
Thank you very much for that question also. And would I, supervising educational delivery in the region, decide that a new building that has been put up for students to use, I'm not a student girl, we should not go into that block? For what reason? Then why am I here? Now, the statement you quoted, you notice one is a quotation attributed to the assistant master. And as to whether that attribution is right or wrong, is one that we need to check. We may call the headmaster or the assistant master and find out whether he did say this, and we'll find out whether it's true or not. I would want to say that whatever that is attributed to this assistant master is not a truth. It's not correct. What I'm telling you is the fact that the contractor saw or detected this error with the doors, and he promised working on them. If the assistant master spoke, notice it's not the headmaster who spoke. We don't know whether the assistant master actually did say what is being said. So we cannot be taking something from the assistant master to have been what the headmaster would have been saying, representative of what the voice of a school would be. In any case, nobody has stalled the students' entry into the block because of not being commissioned or whatever.
But, I mean, if you tell us that the girls were allowed into the dormitory last week, the Times also report that the journalists who went around also went around with the NADMO coordinator, Mr. Metepe, who also confirmed the incident or the case and expressed unhappiness of the school authorities' refusal to allow the girls into the dormitory. And so this is not just coming from the assistant headmaster. The NADMO coordinator also said the same thing.
The NADMO coordinator called me when he was even going there, resulting from some of these journalists who were putting the wrong information out into the public domain. So he called me. I was then out of the region, and he went to take a look at the place to realize that indeed the girls hadn't gone in because of this technical problem we realized. So he even drew my attention to what he was seeing, and we called the contractor, drew his attention to the fact that the work had not been completed. That would account for why Mr. Metepe was there. But Mr. Metepe, for all I know, cannot be saying that it is because the president had not commissioned the building, that is why the students were not going into that building. I don't believe Mr. Metepe would say that, and Mr. Metepe cannot say that.
So the quotation, once again, from Mr. Metepe in the Times is also incorrect?
Pardon me?
Are you suggesting that the quotation also in the Times referring to Mr. Metepe is also not correct?
That's what I'm saying, because I know Mr. Metepe. Mr. Metepe cannot be going there to be saying that it's because the president had not come to commission the block and that's why the students were not in it. But because we all know that the student hasn't gone in, at the time we wished they should have entered. And because there were some of these comments in the public domain, he called me and said he wanted to go and find out the situation on the ground. Yes, he did go, but he did not go and has not come out to tell me that it's because the president had not come to commission the block and that's why it's not being used. That is out of it's not correct.
Wow. But so at least as we speak, all the girls over 100 are housed in the dormitory.
The girls are there. And you can send any of your representatives. You can send anyone right now to come and check.
Wow. I'm sure that was the most important thing. We thank you very much for your time, sir.
I'm very grateful.
Yo.
Very Xmas.
And same to you, sir.
Bye.
Ora Gabriel Planyi in the attending Volta Regional Director of Education. Na okasa bacho
yedi kan ebeda media for ase so media for man for ase me ama anka minim say girls no mo da sugu abonten na pempi no ade sa ade ne ya aka ye hododo utie owura ne kasa na waso last week ya ne mo kom
last week Chronicle ne publish a story in the first.
Just a media most started
kind of Chronicle and publish it and come for mongo.
What admit it? Say media for started did if say building no more way it's not door aka. Other than say door aka na mo so mo nkuma media publish here the mama mako. That is why Times is giving us that impression say you see a twa me a commission answer. It's very unfortunate. And enye ha nkwa na esi. Baby bebre bo bako you see ewie bibia na enyam bia no nti. Nipa ne gu abonten ina to bo kra minim schools ya wie even middle schools me dey check ibisa ho asem say ma ko ba bia so school ya wie bibia na ya bese ekomu so ya se che ya be commission answer ebi wo ha me ko bisa o mo so ya wie ampase ya wie so furniture na ya twen furniture ba mpa ya be mo makom ebi wo so contractor na so hand over na so hand over so hand over there in who so we bia obi ogina bonti beka so we but in this particular case no mo say doors no na your problem na doors no problem no contractor na am assurance obeye until so obeye no nkola ni ngu abonti media ko kan area within 1 week na mudu wan ko room just to be able to answer and say oh say the obi akowram. I think we should not let this thing happen. Me and manen koso projects ya wie no wo also mu use no betuma use so my pain ready no person of commissioner
it can still be commissioned.
Go ahead and commission.
Yeah, me doing what me say anyway
what you say
obani me enti we ya adwuma ni bi na omo ye ne sa
public interest story my idea
education select committee na projects be pre akwa Shednia Koso over Hono. Adabako minimum say, the contract Emma will be no ye Jumani Via. Sabi, Nisikan or handy over project in the crowd. Yentia Nisikan
Emano.
It will be a friend of retention. Retention is say, a Jumana, why no, a beman sometime, I think about 3 months or so.
To be say
occupy my hair, Besha say, say, Bibi, a touchma any year. Now, your son friend, now I be rectify Sanya Manina. And to me, as an educationist, you know, near director, no, can meaning in your dream. The truth of the matter, they say, Bibi a dahonumo, say, a buying a projector. Most of the ministries, and I say, chief and I say directors, you know, I am but I say, say, if you are president, you know, number commission, our project, you know. Into Basha President Kufuor Borisona, even he picked toilets, the crowd no more train my president. I bet commission answer. More chronosono, said
we are okay, vote better, bro. Oh, if I vote to be bro.
I said, you can American.
Oh, prime is okay.
Toilet.
There were some.
Oh, prime is okay. We are vote to bro. Oh, yeah, oh. It's not. It's American. Okay, bro. Oh, go forward, they go up. Bro. Parents in Brian, bro. You're quite the page. This man no money. No,
but I've not said anything wrong. Facts in American.
Bro.
Sadia, I can't too much. Say, I buy a BBA. You per se, I buy Nankasa, and I say President Nankasa, Eba commissioning. Fine. President no Eba commission projects in the Volta region. Project President Mills through the government, Volta region. And also, on to me, you see the visit to the